So diving right into the Champions League, as it were, I would like Crespo to just give us his 2 cents on the team. Good evening, everyone. This is Taiwan Ojobi, your host on Lanona's Maple Sports. You know, we like to bring a lot of unfiltered opinion, sharp analysis, and some big love for Canadian hoops and ice. I'm always excited when I have a lot of my, good friends here coming to bring that energy, especially as it relates to the world of football, Champions League, and how things have been going so far. Yeah, today, as your commentator, I have a couple of friends with me, Joshua Crespo and Emmanuel, and we're going to be digging it down, talking about the Champions League, especially how the drama has gone so far. Today, I like to say it's a good day, good weather, take a chance once more and make a difference. So that being said, I'll probably just dive right into it, introducing Crespo, who has been, been with us for a couple of weeks and, been shining high. A lot of people have been asking of him. Emmanuel, Joshua, just say hello and we're going to dive right into the Champions League as it is.
Hello, it's good to be back. Thanks for having me, Taiwo.
Yeah, thanks so much. Joshua?
Yeah, hello. Good to be back. Good to be back on the show. I know I missed the last episode, but yeah, I'm happy to talk about the beautiful world of sports and football.
But you didn't tell us the reason why you missed it. They said he needed some emotional balance after Chelsea's performance.
I know, like, I've been giving up. I want to. I don't know,
but even the world is not perfect. Things happen.
No, it's not perfect.
The world is not perfect.
So I don't. The tennis one, but yeah, I mean, like I told you, it's a shame.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Emmanuel, why don't you give us some of your 2 cents before we go into
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys. And Joshua, welcome back. It was a rough week for you, but good to see you again. It was a mixed week, rough and some goodness in the week. So good to see you again. So welcome back. I'm happy to be here.
So it's more like mixed feelings, which
Exactly.
is okay. Mixed feelings is okay. It's allowed in this environment.
It's allowed, Abby.
So diving right into the Champions League, as it were, I would like Crespo to just give us his 2 cents on the team that we tried as much as possible to celebrate them a week before they just disappointed everybody. And that's Bodo Glimt. They call them the Norwegian Prince. They were looking at them more of a giant killer, that they were going to kill the giants for us, especially the giants of Portugal. But it looks as if those guys went in, they were able to dig deep. They came with a strategy and they did not concede a single goal. Because of that, we're able to look at some of the numbers and it looks like the numbers are not adding up. The Bodo Glimt team looked like a complete reset of what we saw in the first leg. They were not good enough. Even though it's a low budget team, but it looks like as if the big moment was too big for them. They started shrinking. So, Crespo, can you just give us your 2 cents? What do you think about the way they were shrinking? What do you think went wrong?
Actually, that was just a nice Cinderella run. And if you remember our last conversation, we
Exactly.
said wherever it ended, it was a good run. So I don't think Bodo should put their heads down. Rather, they should, raise their shoulders above water, raise their heads really high, and beat their chest to say that they've done really well. However, the occasion just got a lot bigger than they had expected.
Exactly.
I was surprised with their setup in the return leg. I felt they should have at least tried to continue to be the giant slayer that we have known them to be. But for some reasons, they decided to sit deep from the get-go. And I guess that limited their creative guys and they were unable to do anything, So I would say kudos to Sporting, digging deep to get back 5 goals, that was impressive. That was impressive. Although it went into the extra time, however, they did what they had to do, and kudos to Sporting. Now I hope Sporting can now be that team that would not lose to another big team in the next round, So let's see how that goes. But again, like I said, it's Cinderella run for Bodo. Kudos to UEFA for giving small teams like that the chance to be in the Champions League and give them the chance to proceed beyond the group stages. Because we discussed some weeks earlier also, like the new format would permit teams not just to play the top dogs, but play big teams, play teams at their level, and give them a chance to get to as far as the playoff and even the round of 16, which they bowed out gracefully. So I would say shout out to Bodo. They should not feel bad that they lost. The occasion got bigger than them. And again, a Cinderella run that was what the while and enjoyable for all fans to watch.
Exactly. That's a good one. Emmanuel, do you want to chime in on this? Just give us your 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, nothing to different from what I already said. It was a good one by Sporting to come back from three goal deficit, to win 5-0. Quite an interesting game. I think I was saying it when I saw the first 2 goals going, I was like, man, this is going to be a long night for Bodo.
Yeah.
To be fair to them, I mean, they tried coming this far. I mean, they should be proud of what they've achieved so far in the Champions League this season, despite not going beyond the round of 16. I mean, taking away Inter, probably be a big achievement for them. And I mean, they will always probably get some money, get a few more players here and there and do better next time. Right? That's all I can say for them. But it was clearly the golf inequality showed on that game, right? Sporting clearly went for it. That's the thing about this thing. No matter how many goal difference you are, sometimes it's not just concluded until you say it's concluded, right? So that was in that game. Sporting went for it from the get go, scored the first 2 goals, and then held on, scored the 3rd one, and they went to extra time and scored 2 more goals. So 5-0 on the night, and all credit to them for being able to turn it around in their own favor. And then Bodo Glimt again, they've achieved something that they've not done before, I believe. So it's good to see that they've gone this far. I mean, it's always good to see the small teams, shake the bigger teams. It's always good to see that upset in the big competitions like Champions League, right? So I mean, they should be proud of what they've achieved so far.
Yeah. Thanks so much for that. So Joshua, what do you think generally? 5 goals, not even one of them was applied,
And again, I think just echoing what the rest of the guys have said, they can take a lot of positive from this campaign that they've had in the Champions League. They're usually on the Europa League side, but again, because of this expansion, and they can be proud of their Cinderella run, like Crespo said it. And again, you call them low budget team, they'll be getting a lot of funds from getting to this stage in the Champions League, which you again them next season. And also, I think this is how they've played, like when they've gone that first goal lead. You remember against Inter also, the second leg was the
they
same.
sat back.
Inter had a lot of possession that we're talking about the same day, right? But they just didn't have a lot of shot on target. And but they were able to pull them out on the counter. Yeah, similarly, but again, another critical thing, like I was talking about football, like fine margins is at the beginning of the game, Bodo had a chance when it was still goalless. They had from corner, they had a header that hit the bar. If I hit the bar twice, he hit the bar and he hit the bar again. Right? And then just like fine margins, if that goal had gone in and Bodo led it, perhaps the
difference
might have been different, but again, it wasn't to be. But credit has to go to Sporting for like taking the game to them, and the goals were beautiful. Like all those goals, all the 5 goals were wonderful goals, and it's what we'd expect from Sporting to come out of it 2-legged tie against Bodo. So credit has to be given to them for how they took the game by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And do against Arsenal, I think they meet Arsenal next, where the reverse will not be the case. They are now the underdogs.
Underdogs, yeah, that's true.
Only they could cause some upset there.
I don't know what Emmanuel feels about that upset too.
Nah, they will not.
But shout out to them. 7th of April, hopefully we're able to see. The first leg will be in Portugal. And, they may probably just want to take advantage of the fact that they have their home fans. But Arsenal still looks like, based on the optics, it looks like a very, very good team. Up until the time when Liverpool looked like they were already out of the competition. Everybody was celebrating Arsenal for at least raising the flag high for England. Still giving England the opportunity to be able to say, we can still challenge for a cup this season. So Arsenal was like the only team that really showed, that hunger that they were going to be able to, go ahead and push for them. And that's why we're going to them. The thing that surprised me about the match against Leverkusen is Leverkusen had more possession. And I remember a couple of weeks, we talked about the fact that it's not really about how you play, it's about just grinding out the win. 2 of their very important players, Declan Rice and Eze, were very exceptional in this match, and they made sure they were able to get it done. I'll start from Arsenal, Crespo, then Joshua. Just give us your 2 cents on how Leverkusen was able to just chicken out of this race.
Okay, me first, Abi. I mean, it was a good game to watch. I mean, you could see what happens when a team comes out to play football. That's what you see in Champions League, where teams come out to play football. Not like what's in Premier League, where teams sit back, defend, and all. It was quite an even game, to be fair. Definitely, for Arsenal had more chances, a lot more chances than Bellew, and the keeper was great. you know, for that keeper, I'm sure they have scored like 4 to 5 goals in that game. The keeper had lots of saves that he made and lots of blocking defenders. So I think all credit them. They should be happy with how they performed against Arsenal. But Arsenal clearly had some better players and better chances, and that's what happened. Izzy's goal was a fantastic one, man. It was a great goal to watch. I've watched it several times, and I don't get tired of watching that goal. It was just
that goal. No, forget that.
Exceptional. I'm sure when he scored the goal, he was shocked. Like Saliba was like when he scored the goal was like, oh, did I just see? You know, so it was a good goal to see, and then they held on, and then Arsenal again came up with a second goal. Declan Rice, you know, that it loose ball from one of the Bayern Leverkusen defenders, and then it got to Declan Rice, who put it through and then took a shot on goal, and that was the second goal. So it's good to see Arsenal go through. I mean, we all knew Arsenal were going to beat Leverkusen, but Arsenal was going to be too much for Leverkusen. But it's just that I think it was a bit tougher than we expected it to be fair. But then. Very clever too, because they gave us a good game. It was a good game to watch. And that was what happened in Premier League. Teams come out to play. There was always good games because everybody wants to play. They want to score goals, right? Not like what is in the Premier League. So it was good to watch and good to see Arsenal go through. Definitely, they deserve to go through because they had better chances, better shots. You know, all around. It was just a good performance, even though they had less possession than Leverkusen. Although it didn't seem like it at the time I was watching the game, though. It wasn't like I saw that actually had more ball, which was surprising. Well, overall, it was a very good game to watch.
I think before I allow Crespo, give us his own view on it. Personally, I believe that these two players have really improved since they moved to us now. Eberechi Eze, for me, was just slightly above average. He just had a good season. After that good season, he moved to us now, and it looks like he's a bit more mature than most of the guys on the team, because you notice the way his touches are different.
That's class.
I also feel that Arteta is really bringing the best out of these guys. Because it makes me go back to remember some of the statements that Mourinho made. Mourinho was saying everybody should be careful for Arteta because he's forming among the next wave of top managers within the Premier League. And I like what he's really doing. Look at Declan Rice. Declan Rice is now becoming even better than his former team. It's now a major pillar. If he doesn't play, you will know that, oh, this guy is not around and stuff. Crespo, give us your 2 cents. I don't use this time to take everything away from you.
Interesting game. Like again, the last over the first leg, we discussed and we said there was a need for the top players to step up. And indeed, we saw the difference in this second leg. Saka improved. That was a better Saka than the first leg. Once those guys can, bring up their A game, the other guys have a chance to shine. And again, what a goal from Eze. Like when I in fact, like Iman said, I watched that goal. I've seen that goal so many times, and I'm hoping to replicate such when the summer is here.
When you play, when we start the summer games,
because
you need to record it when you do it so that you
because that was a nice first touch, turn, and a nice goal. Again, I want to give that goal. In fact, when I saw the goal, the goal reminded me of Zizou's goal against Leverkusen.
Okay.
In the Champions League, just making that turn. Although Zizou was more technical than this, but
it was more professionally taken.
But give it to Eze. That shot was that turn and shot was like, well, I told you, just play me, get me in the game,
Exactly.
So again, we all knew over 2 legs, we had Arsenal to pick up maximum points, even though they drew 1-1 away. Coming to the Emirates, it was a no-brainer. Again, at this point, you are not supposed to do so much fun stuff. You have to be very effective and efficient at this level of the Champions League. If you are trying to be playful or trying to be unnecessarily skillful, or you want to showboat, you may end up losing. So again, while the business point of the Champions League, you get your chances, you don't use it, you get punished. And I think that's what happened to Leverkusen. They had chances, but they didn't take them. And hey, they're playing Arsenal. They got the few chances. In fact, although Arsenal had more shots, fair to Arsenal. Arsenal had about 21 shots against, I think they had 9 or something. So give it to Arsenal. Give it to Arsenal. And again, no brainer. I expected Arsenal to win over 2 legs. So kudos to Arsenal. And like I said, they are on the weaker side of the slot. So possibly they have a chance to meet Barcelona or Atletico. Let's see how that goes. So quarterfinals look like easy one for Arsenal. But again, it's Champions League. If you don't take your chances, the so-called small teams can punish you. So
exactly, and that's it. One mistake, one goal, and you're done. You're out.
You're out. Yeah. because also they are defending at a very high level. Unfortunately, most of these matches that were played in the second leg, we didn't really see a lot of teams because we're having a lot of 5-0. Teams that were very deliberate were defending well and they were also scoring a lot of goals.
Yeah.
And that's what we just saw across board. Joshua will probably just dive right into, the performance of Chelsea, and, it was just a tough one. I know they were just coming out of a major fine that they paid over 20 million in pounds. Yeah, if I'm correct, in pounds, dating back to some of the transactions they did with Eden Hazard and a couple of other players. So I feel something is really wrong with the Chelsea camp, because they're completely out of the top four the way it's going now. Last time I checked, it was looking like everything was going well. Then later, in fact, this match, it was a complete collapse for Caicedo and Enzo. The two of them they were really overwhelmed by PSG, if you ask me. But just give us your 2 cents or what you think about what is really going on with Chelsea.
Yeah, so first of all, the final was, that's something we expected, considering it was something that this Todd Bowley era, they identified in their books and they self-reported it to the Premier League.
I think that's what reduced the punishment because
absolutely.
Reduced that, maybe even made them avoid a points deduction.
But
notwithstanding, it's still one of the highest fines in terms of dollar amounts that we've probably seen in Premier League. So, but again, I think those are beside the point. That's really not the issue. The issue about this game really is the collapse we had from the first leg. That's really what this tie to bed. Always going to be a tall order to come back from against PSG and not conceding. Considering the morale is low. So that's 3 losses in a row now because they also lost the Premier League game after their first leg. And again, we're just I would say 5 minutes rush of blood to the head from the first leg. At 2-2, the game was balanced, right? Chelsea were in the game. Chelsea were controlling the game, having possession, playing out from the back. And that would eventually be the Achilles heel for Chelsea in terms of wanted to play from the back, and Jorgensen passed to Bakola, who intercepted again. From there, you could tell it just went downhill, and you really can't do that in Champions League, similar to what happened to Newcastle in this second leg against Barcelona, of how you just get that third goal, and all of a sudden it spirals down from then on. And this Chelsea team are not yet at that level where they can understand what is needed in a game, smell the game, understand what is needed. It's not every time you need to pass. There are times when it calls for it, but you see how Arsenal play. Arsenal have grown to that stage where they are now matured. They sometimes they will just allow you have the possession. Sometimes they will sit in. Sometimes they will dictate the play. They can sense what the game needs at a particular point in time. But Chelsea have not yet at that stage, and I think that was the problem in that first leg, because I think the first leg could have ended 2-2. And again, the balance, and we are probably not. They may have still lost the tie, but again, it might be respectful, and it's not a crisis like we're talking about now. So, it's just a strange to see how the season has now gone downhill, and now is a race to finish top 4. Hopefully, only because of Liverpool, who are also faltering, there might still be a chance for top 4, or maybe even if you have 5 teams with Champions League. But I think the season is over right now. Just trying to get as much points as we can get on the board and try to prepare for next season. And the real challenge for me is, what is the next step? Is almost like we always take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. Pochettino, it looks like we're going somewhere at the end of the as far as take to the next stage. But he left also now, and it's okay, we now have to start that process again now with the new manager, who we don't know where he'll get to again, because my problem really with the ownership is, when it gets to a certain level with a manager, you then need to release the rope a bit. It's like you're on the tightrope, but once someone proves himself to you, and you can see that there's potential and this person might do well, then you release the rope a bit, give the person a bit more control, because that's what the person needs. If you follow the playbook of Arsenal and Arteta, that's really what they did. 8-8, and then he finished 5th, and all of a sudden, he was giving more control, to then do what he did with Aubameyang, do what he did with Ozil, bring in the players he wanted to bring in, then reshaped the transfer strategy from just buying older players, Chelsea rejects, to buying more solid players, big guys, Declan Rice. I can see why. There's no reason why you can see why they are the strongest team. Set plays, you see how physical they are because Calafiori, the move from what is Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus, we thought they would be mass lights, but he was given a bit of control to be able to do that. So at some point, you have to give the manager a bit of control when he's attained a level of success so he can move on to the next thing. I think, again, that's what happened with Maresca, and he was frustrated and he left. And we're just at a stage of going again. So the problem is, we hope we don't repeat that same mistake where it's almost just will be a cycle, continual cycle of like turning in managers, rinse and repeat, which is not really what you want. That's the challenge right now. And unfortunately, we are stuck with this ownership and their method of how they want it to work. So we just have to, again, trust the process. Hopefully, it's going to make sense and everything will probably work out in the end. But again, season is pretty much done. I'm just hoping to see how many points you can get on board to make top 4, top 5 to qualify because I think Champions League would be really, really, really important for Chelsea.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Crespo, you want to give us your 2 cents before we go into the Real Madrid?
I think Joshua has said it all. He's a Chelsea fan, and you can feel his pain from his analysis of the game. Just reminds me of when we were also in the Halloween. How do I describe it now? When we're wallowing our own pain, when we had Amorim at the end, like it was crazy, like the rinse and repeat factor. You don't know where you're going. The coach is thinking this way, the board or the management is thinking another way, and we are putting the fans on the edge of their seats every game. They don't know what to expect. So yeah, I can feel his pain. Again, like I said, and I've been saying, I think this Chelsea side is a young team. We've seen them with a young coach make young and silly errors that you expect of a young team. However, like I said, the summer would really explain what to expect of this Chelsea team. If they can get 1 or 2 experienced defenders and get a proper striker, I think then they'll be tough to deal with. If they don't do that, again, and I think with this current situation, I'm not sure they can make any signings with the current fine that they are dealing with.
Yeah, with that fine.
No, we can. So they gave us I
think it's just your academy.
So the academy are banned. Academy cannot buy any players.
But you can make senior signings. Okay.
But they can make senior signings till they suspended the ban for 2 years. So they can make signings from now to 2 years.
Well,
and the ban will take effect 2 years.
Okay, so things that they have a good window to really cash in on this and just do proper signings. Like I said, fix those places, then they can compete. Then again, if you leave this coach, we'll just be speaking the way we spoke of Amorim, because I don't know. Again, one interesting thing I saw him do after 3-0, Garnacho was coming in. What was your coach writing? What was he trying to tell the guys?
I mean, well documented my opinion about. I don't think he's a bad guy or whatever, but
so again, I think a lot of new young coaches are becoming too mathematical about this thing.
Yeah, he's playing to the gallery. All those Hodu, like all those.
Yeah, like when we saw Amorim on the tactical pad at one of those games.
Like, for Christ's sake, what are you doing on the tactical pad when I know putting players in the right position? What was all the drawing? What was all the notes you are writing at 3-0? Giving Garnacho to show.
The draw.
Like, my point is.
Have you seen the meme of him? Like, there's a meme of him going around of putting him in skate and.
But my point is like, football is not sometimes. In fact, I look at the new generation of football. It's fun to see how they are so tactical and methodological about a lot of things. When you look at the Champions Leagues of the 2000, 2001, 2002, the AC Milans where we had Seedorf, you just have those guys on the field of play, Rui Costa, and they just dazzle with the ball. They don't need run 2 steps before. You can't leave this quarter of the box. When you start the game, play a quick corner, it's too methodological right now, but I guess that's where we are now. Hopefully, we get coaches who are a lot less so mathematical about it, and just let's enjoy the flair of football. Get those guys on the pitch. Guys, do your thing. Give the players the freedom to express themselves. So
again, they did really well. I think this is the best. I mean, apart from the Chelsea mistake, I think this is the best performance I've seen from them in Champions League this season.
PSG.
PSG.
If you say this is the best, what about their final against Inter?
No, I said this season.
Oh, this
Like
season.
this is
Oh,
the best. Because they've not really hit the heights of last season, but this is the best I've seen.
PSG waits for the knockout stages.
This season. So the second leg also was very clinical, and again they are on the side of the draw where it's difficult, and Arsenal on the side where it's interesting. So it's interesting. The next fixtures are like mouth-watering. I mean, I can't wait.
Yeah,
it's true. I think a lot of people are really looking forward to what the Champions League next stage will look like, especially these quarterfinals. It's the most competitive that we're going to see in a very long time. I think football is really changing very fast. It's changing very fast for us. Emmanuel, looking at the fact that Manchester City is very, very underwhelming right now. They're not performing so well. Even in England, they're not looking like they are hungry again. Pep Guardiola mentioned it that if they had lost those points that they should have gotten last weekend, then it looks like the title race is over for them. Just give us your 2 cents. I know Real Madrid is Real Madrid. Champions League, they always perform at a very high level. But what do you think generally? How did they collapse to this situation where they are in now?
I know the City has not been very good this season, right? They've not been perfect this season. Right? They've had their issues, right? And I see that team as a team in transition, right? So a lot of new players coming in, and it takes time for these things to happen. And some of them are young players, right? It takes time for these things to happen. Rodri, their main midfielder, was out for a fair bit of time, and it's come back. Yeah, I think he's picking up from gradually. So it's just an interesting one for Man City and Guardiola too. At the point, so maybe I don't want to talk about his personal issues. But it's not the same as what we felt last year. Turn things around in the team. But this year, this hasn't happened for him this year. He tried several things, but still not working. Right? Tried benching Haaland at some point. Playing Marmoush and the Semenyo up front. They scored a few goals, but still they're not getting the results that they desire. Against Madrid, it was an interesting one because clearly, I think we've talked about the 3-0 already last week, right? So the 2-1 win. I mean, I think the red card that this guy got at the start of the game sort of messed up the whole plan that they must have had to.
Yeah, it messed it up. Yeah.
So having the red card against Madrid, no matter where it is, you play Madrid and with 10 men. They're good on the ball. Madrid's good on the ball, so they really outplay you, right? Vinicius Junior there, Albade, Adagula, those guys they can outplay anybody as far as once you make the mistake of going one man down. And I don't know what Bernardo Silva was thinking about when he blocked that ball with his hand. I mean, what was he thinking? His hand was at his back, and then he moved it to block the ball.
Reflex. Catch for, do you remember what we're playing?
Yeah.
But you expect how much money these guys, and you expect them to be a bit more aware of where they are, that sort of thing. But I understand, right? It's reflex. It just happens. It's part of the moment, like want to block the ball and your hand is at the back, you just move to block it. But it was a clear red card, and that changed. Right? I mean, we have finished that game like in the first half, but they have some chances, where they could have finished the game, but it just didn't happen with them until the second half when what's his name, Vinicius Junior scored the second goal. It's quite interesting to see what City has become. I mean, I'm waiting for City. What they can win right now is the Carabao Cup. If they win on Sunday, that's probably all they can get. I don't think they're going to win the league anymore. I think it's all Arsenal's right now. The way it's going, because they have easier pictures than Man City. Man City has to go to Chelsea, right? And they still have to play Arsenal too, right? So, and those are not easy games. Arsenal just has the toughest game is probably Man City. The other ones are just teams on the top at the back end of the first half and top second half of the table. So it's easier for Arsenal to win than Man City to win. But then you never know, right? You never know. It's not fully done yet. Mathematically, it's not done. But people are saying it's already done. 6 points ahead of Man City is a lot at this point in time for them to claw back, given the issues that they're having, right? And then it's hard to stay out of the Champions League because Man City is a very good side. They're one of the teams that have always been there, dominating the Champions League lately, even won it once, right? So it's hard to see them go, but they have lots of issues to fix. Defensively, they have issues. Defensively. Attacking wise, they've not been scoring a lot as they scored before. They couldn't have scored West Ham in the game they played last weekend. And scoring only one goal in 2 overplays against Madrid is quite poor for a Man City side. When you have Haaland, who what they were in the past, guys who can string up goals from anywhere. So they've not just hit the heights this season, and I hope that they're able to sort out whatever issues they have, and come back strong next season. So this season, they can probably try and get the Champions League, see how hard they can fight. But I didn't see that happening because now McGee is not going to play on Sunday because he's cup tied, and I think Johnston is still injured. He's back. Vardiol is still out. Who's going to play? What's this guy's name? This is the new guy that they bought.
Kasanov, the
Kusanov,
yeah.
Kusanov guy, yeah.
Even
Kusanov.
Kasanov too, he was struggling with an injury a couple of weeks back, but he's better now.
Yeah,
but
so
he played
he played the last game
He played
against
last
West
week.
Ham,
He
right?
played last week.
yeah, he went against
Yeah,
Madrid.
so the way it's right, it looks like it's Arsenal's trophy already with how depleted Man City's defense will be, and again the fact that Maguire cannot play that game, right? Attacking wise, to Man City are not really convincing as we all know. So you wonder where will the goals come? Where will the goals come from? Arsenal is strong defensively. You know you can't score more than 1 or 2 goals, right? But can Arsenal score Man City more than 2 goals? You probably say yes. On the basis of what we've seen so far, you say yes. But then you never know what happens on Sunday, right? It's still in the future. Could be a red card, and then the game will change, So, but the way it is right now, you probably say it's Arsenal has to lose. But then let's see how it goes. But City, they need to pick up themselves and get back to where they used to be, because the truth is they've not hit the heights this season. But I know that they just need to gel more and and work on their tactics a bit more and see where they get to next season.
Yeah. Talking about red card, the team that will most likely have a red card based on the analysis they've had this season so far is the Chelsea team. If you're talking about red card, because they've had too many red cards this season, at least amongst the top 4, they've had too many red cards. But that being said, Crespo, give us your 2 cents on performance of Madrid. I know you are a Vinicius Junior fan, and the part I was worried about, if not for that red card, Vinicius Junior lost a lot of opportunities. He cannot do that against the Bayern Munich. He can't do that against the Bayern Munich. What do you think generally?
Yeah, so that would not be new of Vini. If you watch Vini regularly, he would have like 6 chances and bury 2 and dance like he scored 7 goals. So yeah, so that's Vini. And again, and that's what I was trying to say. Like, those are players that you can't really restrict them. They just want to have fun on the pitch. So he's enjoying his football, and I think that's how you can get the best of Vini. The moment you start putting pressure of you need to get 2 goals out of 2 chances, kinds of stifles his creativity. So people like that, you just let them play, let them have fun, and they will do their thing. The issue I always have with Madrid is you can't have 2 players like that on the pitch. And that's where the balance always comes for me when they play Vini and Mbappe. Yeah, Mbappe is someone also that, just give me the chances. I'm going to bury, even if I'm missing right now. The one you don't think I'm going to miss, I'm going to score. When you have 2 players like that on your team, then there might be the loopholes of the fact that the marking or defending, that part of the game is left to every other person in the team. And if those guys don't help, if you play a good team like they're going to play Bayern, they might suffer. But the beauty of Madrid is Madrid will let you have the possession, but guess what? They're going to run at you. They are going to run at you. Your defense is going to have to chase and stop those guys. So again, kudos to Madrid. Beyond everybody's expectation, they took City out. City, for some reasons, again, back to Pep, I think he overcooks his team when he plays Madrid. He overcooks it. Like, for Christ's sake, just do your normal thing. Don't try to be unnecessarily smart. Just let them predict you. Let them pray that you're going to play Alan, they're going to play Semenyo. Play your key guys. Because in the first leg, I'm not sure Foden started. Like, why are you trying to be?
Foden has started in a while.
He hasn't been on form.
But in other games, like, why are you rotating? Play your guys to form. Why are you always trying to play your best legs? In my opinion, I'm not a coach. Of course, Pep knows more because he has more titles than I can ever think.
Yes.
That's how you box and you don't.
Yeah, But again, I feel at that level he overcooks it and thinks that he can actually compete. He overcooks it and you're wondering, but you have these other guys on the bench. Why are you waiting, again, one thing I noticed again, he played Semenyo, even using Semenyo, I think, from the left. All of a sudden, you played Doku, you played Semenyo from the 8th position, like against Madrid. Again, like I said, sometimes when you overcook it, you might not get it done. But again, kudos to Madrid, and long may this run continue, because Madrid is not playing very well. We must say that also. They're not playing well. So
they've not had Mbappe for a while too. So.
Yeah, so let's see if this luck will continue against Bayern, because Bayern will not mess around. Trust me.
Yeah, that's true.
And this thing you said about Guardiola and the coaching tactics, I think something you see with modern coaches, right? They're into the detail, like they want to control every single thing on the pitch. They move balls around, tell them what to do, like they're like robots. They think for themselves anymore. They just focus on what they're told to do. When you get the opacity around here, those sort of things. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's with Arteta sometimes as well at Arsenal. So it's an interesting one to see, because I know way back in the day, you used to see players used to express themselves very, very well. Flair thing, and you love to see them. But these days, for example, when Eze was at Crystal Palace, people used to say he had a lot of flair in his game. Right now at Arsenal, he's a bit restricted, although in the last few games he has been better. So it's interesting that, and I don't think that's having a good impact on the players from what we started with Man City, right? So I think players need a bit of freedom, especially creative players.
Yeah, let them have fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the world of football is changing very, very fast right now. You need some level of mastery coming from the coach to be able to win matches. The reason why I feel that players may not be able to stay creative anymore is because especially with the way the Premier League is very fast now and strong, if you are not tactically ahead, you will struggle a lot this season. I know depth has a lot to do with it, but tactically, if you have a coach that is able to put that mastery down, because what does a team do, even if you are one man down and they still look like they are composed? Is the decision taking of the coach and the mentality of the players that is able to, especially now, you'll be hearing things like, we need a coach that can put the players in the best position to succeed. But now these players are talented. Why can't they put themselves in a position to succeed? But they are saying the coach has to put them in the right position to succeed. So it's becoming very, very important for coaches to be tactically ahead, especially in their game. I think we'll just dive right into Barcelona's performance. What I call this is they were very explosive in their second leg. They didn't look like what they were in first leg. It was like there was a tactical plan. They went in and they delivered it. Joshua, give us your 2 cents on, what Barcelona did differently, because Newcastle looked like they had it controlled in the first leg. They even had to score a penalty to come back in the first leg. The second leg was a different ballgame. What do you think went wrong?
Yeah, I think again, the same thing I said about the Chelsea PSG first leg. And I remember saying, I don't know if it was to you or on the show, of how Barcelona will not play like they did in the first leg. But again, like you said, in the second leg, the game was balanced. Even in second half, they were like 3 goals. It was 3-2 for Barcelona in halftime, but you felt like the game was still on the knife edge. It was still balanced. It was end to end. Newcastle scored 1, Newcastle replied, scored 2, Newcastle replied, and the third goal for me was more of individual mistakes than Newcastle had, and maybe that's due to their inexperience at this level, at this stage. But again, but the Barcelona players don't have a lot of experience at this stage. Also, they are very young too. So again, which is why I don't like to overhype experience. I mean, it's football, right? It's not. We've seen young players who are also, what you're meant to do. But again, just about the defending for Newcastle on the day was so poor. Barcelona scored 2 goals from set pieces. And if you were to ask anyone, who is likely to score from a set piece? You say Newcastle, because Newcastle have bigger players, taller players. Joelinton, they are the stronger player and the people who depend on set pieces. But if you see, I think it was the 4th goal, where it was just like easy. Even the second goal in the first half, where from the corner, it was like dropped down to Fermin, I think. Then for the penalty also, Trippier, who is an experienced player, just kind of left the player and he allowed you to run past him, and then you could see it was a clear pull, right? A clear penalty. Even for the 4th goal, it was also the one who left his marker to allow for Dimba. So again, they didn't defend their set pieces really well, which I think is what cost them the game, because I think 3 of the goals came from set piece. And when they got the 4th goal from that mistake, and it was like I said, it was just downhill from there. And you don't want to give Barcelona that feel of the game when everything they thought storms to gold. When Barcelona gets in that mood, it's very difficult. And you can see the 4th goal, the 5th goal, how it happened. Like Yami just body facing down ball, and I was like, kissing my guy. This guy is so tall. Like he can't. I'm like, and again he went. You guess so. Once Barcelona in that mood, it's really difficult to stop. And Lewandowski, who has not been in great form, also got 2 goals. Really glad for him. The first goal he took, you see, he had enough time. He even fainted, he even dummied the keeper before he was able to place the ball. He had a lot of time to finish the ball. And again, it's I really don't know, but again, just those individual mistakes in terms of defending, because I think 3-2, keeping the game 3-2, and being cohesive, being strong. Up until the end of the game could have given Newcastle more chance and try to take your chance on the break. For a team playing Barca, they were too open for me. And if you know Barca, you know that's really not what you want to give them. You want to close up the pitch right, where it's very high because they keep a very high line. So you want to close up the pitch and being able to expose. And I think it's just the same theme as when the game changes, when their goal changes.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sure they'll take learnings from it. Again, not really surprised, surprised with the scoreline, but I think I expected Barcelona to win. But again, it's just one of those games where even for Chelsea, PSG in the first leg, Newcastle, Barcelona in the second leg, where the scoreline doesn't really tell the story. Because if you check live scores and you just check the scores and you see 7-2 or whatever it ended, I can't remember 6-2 or whatever, and you're like,
7-2.
wow, it's like it will be interesting to see. I think who are they playing next?
They're
Atletico.
playing Atletico.
Oh, so it's going to be a rematch of that
Yeah.
their Copa del Rey. So
Home and away, man. Two ties.
Barcelona most likely want to revenge for that. But again, I think over the two legs, I'll put my money on Barcelona to go through in that next round.
I know Atletico has dealt with them this season, especially in Copa del Rey.
Exactly. So I'm
I
sure
think they kind of understand each other, but they should. Barcelona should be able to pull through because I don't think Atletico is consistent for me. The amount of goals they conceded, even in this second leg, was alarming for me. But that's a good one generally. Emmanuel, do you want to just chime in briefly before we move into Bayern Munich's wonderful performance too?
Yeah, briefly, it was just a game of two halves. The first half was quite even, with quite end to end, and then second half, I don't know what happened to Newcastle. They just lost it defensively, and it was like a flood of goals coming in. It was shocking from Newcastle. I was shocked at what I was when I saw it. I was shocked. I mean, I was just watching as I was walking. I was like shocked at what I was seeing that day. Like, what is going on with Newcastle today, man? Like conceding 7 goals, in one game, that was quite shocking. And again, it just shows how good Barca can be on a very good day, right? How good it can be if you give them the spaces to express themselves. That's what happened on that game. And then Newcastle, we just don't know what they play defensively.
Yeah.
If I was making a mistake, I wanted to pass the ball. I don't know what he was thinking. He went to pass the ball to somebody, and then he was caught short, and he got to what's his name what's this guy's name now? For that goal, the guy that was in Leeds before.
Rafinha.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of time to even think about what to do with the ball. I was like, what's going on with Newcastle today?
Yeah.
And I mean, last week we said here that Barca will probably find it difficult to beat Newcastle at Camp Nou, right?
Yeah.
I think that last week, and then to see them, just go down the way they did was quite shocking from Newcastle. But congrats to Barcelona, they deserve to go through. I mean, a team that can take those chances that they got that they deserve to go through clearly. So it's good to see they've gone through. I hope they're able to beat Atletico in the over 2 legs in the next.
But
it's so surprising to me.
I'd rather Arsenal meets Barcelona.
Yeah.
Arsenal is the only team that can probably get Barcelona out the way it's going. Very clinical.
Atletico said that they've done it before. They can do it again.
Even I'm worried about Madrid, Bayern Munich, because Madrid is a team that they have the Champions League experience. Bayern Munich now looks very clinical. As the way they are beating everybody, you think that man, they can just, they can drive a train and pass through anything right now. So it will be very interesting to see how it's going to be. And that's why I'm really looking forward to it. Crespo, for Bayern Munich, that had a very explosive performance. I was a bit worried about the aggregate. 10-2 is too much for me. We've had a lot of, even in this stage, this is the first time I'll be seeing aggregate that, as in, it just shows the difference in the quality of both teams. Atalanta, I thought they had it, but just like they say in Nigeria, if you didn't they, didn't they? You understand? So what do you think generally, Crespo, about this Bayern Munich's performance?
Yeah, generally you can, from what you are seeing, the results we've discussed is a function of the jungle getting matured.
Exactly.
Like in local balance, jungle just mature. So if you're not ready, jungle will swallow you. And that's what happened to Newcastle. That's what happened to Chelsea. Again, Atalanta. Against Bayern, they didn't have a chance, and nobody gave them a chance, and they had 8 shots on goal, and 4 was converted. 50% accuracy in shot on goal. What do you expect from a team like that? I think Hurricane had 2 goals. They were lucky he didn't play in the first leg. If he was there in the first leg, because Hurricane is like, he always go crazy. And he scores with every part of his body. And I'm like, guy, you just got an hat-trick. Just go and rest. No. Is going for more. Again, Jungle the game just got a lot more serious for Atalanta, and we didn't even expect them to be at that level or to get to that point. They've not had a good season, so Bayern all the way for that. But the interesting thing is now the jungle, like I said, is now mature. Let's see
Yes,
how Bayern deals with a fellow mature team. Again,
team
like
like
I
that.
always said, Bayern have, for some reasons, they've been good at sweeping and beating people who are not good enough. But when they meet tough teams, I've not seen them blow any tough team out.
No,
Sadly,
even as
yeah. So they've
That's not good
I'm not sure I'm not sure they defeated Dortmund in a very clear way, like 3-0 or 3. It was always almost back and forth kind of game against Dortmund. It was the same with even Leverkusen, though they were a man down, or was
Yeah,
it 2 man down
2 men
at
down,
some
2 men
point?
down.
Two
They got
men
2 men
down,
down. Yeah.
but nevertheless, I've not seen them blow out a solid team. So
yeah,
that tells you that if they face a solid team, they might crack. And that's always the flip side of football, where in the group stages and all these stages, you are beating everybody and it feels like, oh, you don't have any problems. Then the next game, you don't face any tough team. All of a sudden at the knockout stage, you face a tough team, you could get knocked out. And that's what Real Madrid is very good at. So if Bayern thinks, oh, because we've been blowing people out, it's just going to be a walk in the park, well, they might meet a different Madrid that will just have 2 chances and have 2 goals ahead in the first leg. Go to second leg, get lucky, you probably get a red card, and the game is over. Because over time, the way Madrid has been able to beat Bayern will always be they play more of the smart part of the games, not necessarily outplaying Bayern. They can give Bayern all the possession, get their chances, score, lock shop, have Rudiger bite everybody, break everybody's head in that place, and yeah, nobody gets a chance to score. So again, it's going to be a slippery one for Bayern. They've been excellent up until this point. Let's see what they can do after or with Real Madrid.
Madrid, okay. That's a good one. Emmanuel, what really happened with Liverpool Galatasaray? The first leg, everybody had already written them off. What do you think really happened? That 4-0. Liverpool scoring 4 goals.
I think it was a combination of a lot of factors, right? I think for me, the fact that Osimhen went out injured in that game was a big factor because there was nobody threatening their own defense, right? So they had the space and the time to explore, to be creative and all at the middle of the park and pitch. So I think the other thing is that the attack just clicked on that day. You saw what Liverpool can be when the attack clicks and when they're able to take their chances. Salah, Ekitike, Gravenberch scoring different, lovely, beautiful goals. So that's just what happened. And again, on a very good day, if you're being fair, take out the Osimhen from that right team, which is sad though, right? They can't face most teams, right? It not shows you how important the Osimhen is to that team, right?
Yeah.
When he's there, he holds the defense back, he threatens everybody, he chases the ball down, he does everything. He's just a hard worker. So him going out injured in this first half or whenever he went out was quite a big loss for Galatasaray. And because of the Liverpool, because they played Liverpool 2 times already, and they wasn't he was on the pitch. So that him leaving the pitch was the reason why, because that's the reason why they lost that game, because they played twice and he was there when they won. So it's quite shocking. It's quite shocking for Galatasaray. They need to stop that situation problem. I thought this is a problem for them because if it's not there, that means they can't play good football, they can't score goals, they can't win games, especially against the big boys like Liverpool. But I feel like and again he was there injured and they could only score 1 goal. They didn't score the other 3 goals in the second half. Liverpool is good to see them doing what they can really do to a team that gives them the chances to do that. And usually that's how when a team goes to play football, right? So Liverpool is good to see them do that, and they were creative. You saw Florian Wirtz being very creative in that game. Ekitike was all over the place, running the channels, doing everything, creating chances for himself, passing the ball around. Salah was great. He missed a couple of chances. I think he missed a penalty too.
He missed a pen.
Yeah. Thank God he scored that last goal.
And he scored it beautiful. That goal was in fact, he scored
missing chances
than the penalty.
Exactly. I think even his teammates encouraged him after he scored that last goal.
Of course, now you have to. You have to.
They know that he has been through a lot.
So you have to. But the goal they scored was when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is really a great goal to
he gave the ball to Florian Wirtz. I think Wirtz gave him back.
He gave him back. He
gave him back.
I think he did
try your shot again.
Top corner.
Because he had given it to Wirtz. Wirtz was supposed to go. At that time, they were already in a comfortable position. But Wirtz gave him back again and said, "Guy, try again." And he tried just to help his confidence, just to come back.
Yeah.
It's good to see them. Just get it done.
It's good to see them, progress to the next round. That's Liverpool. They'll be facing PSG. That's another tough game. PSG. PSG was on that last season.
Yeah,
They
reminder
can't
of
be.
the last season's quarters.
Yeah, so let's see what happen. Maybe this means they might put everything behind them and come up very angry against PSG this time around. So let's see if they can if they can defeat PSG over 2 legs. But well, this Liverpool side, this in Liverpool, they've not been consistent, right? So you don't know what you're gonna get in the next game, right?
It's true.
So
Yeah.
but let's see how it goes. But my own prediction is that I think I see them going out. I think PSG will be just too good for them because this is when PSG comes alive. When it's this
Yes.
competition, this is when they come alive, right? So I see PSG being too good for Liverpool. So I think they're gonna go. But let's see how it goes. This is football. You never know what you see on the day of the game.
Yeah. You never know what you get because players can come and they will execute at a very high level.
Yep.
Liverpool came in. The moment Osimhen went out, I saw that it affected the morale, and Liverpool made some adjustments, and it just ended up in their favor, and they were able to just score 4 goals. But that's a very good one. Hopefully, we're able to get a very hard close. Crespo, just give us what you are chiming in generally on Tottenham Atletico. We're talking about the fact that Atletico is still conceding, even though they had a comfortable first leg, but they were still conceding, and that's why this was a close one, 7-5 on aggregate. What do you think it's a very high scoring, match for me for an Atletico that will be going against Barcelona? What do you think generally?
Yeah. So it was the first leg that saved them, and they were so lucky Tottenham did not come to the party. Because I think if they played the same way, probably they'll be out by now.
Yeah.
Again, for some reasons, I don't know what's wrong with Atletico. They're not consistent. They seem good today, the next day they are so poor, and that's how they've been doing in La Liga as well. And unfortunately, it's going to be very tough one for them because after the first Champions League game that weekend, before the first leg, they're going to be playing Barcelona Saturday. They play Barcelona for the Champions League, rest for the weekend, play somebody else, then come back. So they're going to be meeting Barcelona in 4 games, 3 times in 4 games. It's going to be interesting to see how they cope. For me, again, I don't know how they played so poorly against a poor Tottenham. I think that was Tottenham's first win in like 2026, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
they were getting desperate. No, they drew against Liverpool when it was.
But that was their first win.
That's
First win.
So
it goes to say a lot about not even Tottenham, but about Atletico Madrid, how they executed that game. Again, like I mentioned last time we discussed, when you get to the business side of Champions League, we spoke about Gala also. Gala's away form was terrible.
Yeah.
I don't even think if Osimhen was fully fit, yes, would have given a chance, but they did not play. They could not pass 3 passes in the midfield against Liverpool. You need to stamp your authority at that level. And probably that's the level of the Turkish league that even without just one player, the whole team collapses. That's very bad of any team. So if Osimhen is not around, does that mean Gala doesn't exist? So back to Atletico, I feel the same way I was explaining about Gala. If you are giving us these vibes, probably we should not expect to do anything against Barcelona. So with their performance, well, they might do well at the Politano, their stadium, but I don't know if they will do well at the
outside
Nou Camp.
Metropolitan.
Yeah, I don't know if they do well. I don't know if they do well at Nou Camp. So again, kudos to Atletico for crossing that bridge. But let's see how far they can swim.
I think they play Madrid this weekend, so that will be. Let's see what they make of that. Joshua, do you want to just chime in a bit on Atletico's failure to just keep a clean sheet?
Yeah, and I think it's basically what Chris was saying. And we've seen that this is just the second time in a matter of how many games of where they get that lead in the first leg and second leg is almost like they just fall off. We saw that in Barcelona in the Copa del Rey, and now we've seen yes, I mean a terrible, not really. It's not like you're playing the best of sides. Still not be able to. And you just felt like if that game went on another 15-20 minutes longer, like
things could have changed.
It would have changed. Like they could have been in serious troubles. Like I mentioned in the Barcelona games, like this is not the athlete. Diego Simeone before. Like how Diego Simeone's team. God help you, they are 2 goals ahead of you. Like you just know that they are packing the balls and everything. Like there's no it was just satanic, demonic football. Like Maybe it's also Diego Simeone like changing a bit, having more.
No, not even that. He doesn't have those personnel anymore.
True, because
Yeah.
Those guys that
from
all those
that side.
Saul, all those guys.
Gordon, it's only Jimenez left from and so
Yeah.
he's not really had those strong characters in defense. So you see, they are conceding lots more goals, and not just that. And usually it comes after they score. They are surrendering leads a lot, even in La Liga. Like that's really why they are in La Liga. Like they surrender leads a lot. So, but again, they didn't win the battle, but they were able to win the war against Tottenham. Let's see what they can do in their next round. That'll be interesting. But again, I mean, I don't think anyone expects them to win the Champions League or get to the final. It's like how far can they get? They should just, I mean, put out a better showing, but the next stage might be where they just gonna be one step too much for them.
That's a good one. Talking about what we've always talked about on this show is about the dominance of the English football. You know, looking at the other European competitions, Europa League did not even disappoint. We also had Nottingham Forest, who is fighting for their lives. They still qualified in the round of 16, but their own went into penalties against a very decent Midtjylland. And they ended up winning 3-0 on penalties. Aston Villa also, you know, did their own part well against Lille, the French side. The aggregate was 3-0. So we have two English teams that are going into the quarterfinal for Europa League. Now the Conference League as well, we have Crystal Palace, you know, playing against a very quiet Cyprus team called Larnaca. And they were playing away in Cyprus, so it was even a tough terrain, and they still went ahead to win 2-1 on aggregate. Shout out to them, you know, flying the flag and making it count for the English team. I think we're having a hard stop. We've done exactly 1 hour. Emmanuel, just give us your 2 cents. So what do you think about English teams trying to show that they deserve to have 5 teams going into the Champions League this season? Do you think they should still get that special treatment?
Well, I think it's what is due to them, right? Because if you look at the number of teams in the Premier League, I think they're a lot more compared to Spain. I think the Spanish teams play about 36 matches. England play 38 matches.
As I speak now, 3 Spanish teams are in the quarterfinal.
Yeah.
Atletico, Real Madrid, and
Barcelona.
Barcelona.
We just struggled to have 2 teams,
Well,
and that was when Liverpool
I also struggled. You know
Yeah.
why? At the end of the day, right? It's just, I mean, sometimes I don't like reading a lot into these things because some seasons ago we had 2 English teams in the finals of the Champions League. I think it was Spurs and Liverpool, I think. And then fairly recently, last season Arsenal went very far as well, you know, to the semi-finals. Now we have Liverpool and Arsenal there as well. You don't know how far they're going to go this season, right? So this narrative, okay, Spain, you have only 3 Spanish teams, 1 French team, right, in PSG.
Yeah.
And then you have 1 team from Portugal.
1
right?
team from
no,
Germany.
No team from
No Italian team.
No Italian.
No Italian.
So yeah, the talk about the fact that English teams are dropping quality, I struggle to agree with that narrative because the fact that we have 2 teams in England that are still there. I mean, Bodo Glimt took away Inter, right?
Yeah,
it's not like Italian football dropping. Right? In Italian team, see what Bayern did to Atalanta over two legs, right?
2 legs, yeah.
So that's the thing. So these things they come and they go. Like last season, what happened last season? Who won last season? Last season was won by
PSG.
I mean, Madrid was out in the round of I think it was quarterfinals last season.
Yeah, quarters.
Right. Pagatu was out at some point as well. So sometimes those narratives about the fact that English team is making it. Yeah. Okay, now if you go down to the Europa League, you see English teams out there. Same thing in the Conference League. So you can't have it like that all the time. And a lot of factors come into these things. If you look at Man City, for example, what happened to Man City? They've changed a lot of new players are coming in. Injuries too affecting them. Personal issues as well. So you start digging into this, there are causes for some of the things that are happening. Chelsea too. Look at Chelsea and what the coach is doing. They're not doing so well in the Premier League. You know, given what they have as quality, they have quality players. They're not doing so well in the Premier League. Not talk of Champions League, right? Liverpool, they've had their issues as well. Yet they're still where they are in the Champions League. So sometimes I don't like the narrative of saying that English teams are poor. I don't think it's just a case of what's going on presently with certain teams, right? Because the truth is, it could be Arsenal tomorrow that will go out. And still do very well because Champions League is a very funny league. You could lose by 1-0 and you're out. Although the way they've lost, to be fair, is understand the fact that there was a lot of goals, especially against Newcastle. Newcastle is 13th or what in the Premier League.
Chelsea.
So Newcastle is still
Newcastle has gone into the top 10 now.
Oh, they're top 10. Okay, so they've not been
gone into the top 10.
I mean, so if you look at these teams,
they are 9th now.
They are 9th now. So they're so great this season. The teams that have gone out. City has not been wonderful, what we know them to be. Newcastle has not been great this season. They've not been consistent like what they did last season. Last season they won the Carabao Cup. Now they're out of the Carabao Cup already. Which other one? Chelsea. Do you know what Chelsea does in the Premier League these days? Yeah. Rosinha is still learning on the job as well. He's learning his players, trying to understand what to do with them. Sometimes he makes some decisions that are not right. That we see and we question his decisions. But overall, I think it's just a case of this is where the team is at the moment. It doesn't mean that the league is spoiled. It's just that some teams are struggling, which is normal. Teams go through different phases in their development. So it's just that's the way I choose to look at it. I understand people saying that yes, they conceded a lot of goals recently in the Champions League. But I still think it's just the phase that those teams are at in their own development, in their own cycle, basically.
Okay. Thank you so much for that feedback. Manchester United was also able to get a draw earlier today against another team that I like so much, which is Bournemouth. And, they are still sitting pretty well after playing 31 games as the third on the table. Very, very comfortable for them. If they continue like this, they should be able to just clinch a good position for the Champions League. But that being said, we have about 7 matches, just to the end of the season. Believe that there will be a lot of drama, especially at the bottom of the table. Tottenham is, I still kind of just believe that Tottenham will survive. But let's just see how it goes. And hopefully, we're able to get some fun matches for at least the last 7 matches, with some of them still having 8 matches to the end. Now we've come to the end. Thank you so much, guys. I do not take it for granted when I get the opportunity to have powerful men, men that are of timber and a little bit of caliber, or not so much caliber as the case may be, just to support give us your 2 cents across board. Thank you very much for your time this weekend. We've brought a lot of unfiltered opinions, sharp analysis, and big love for the Premier League. I want to say have a wonderful weekend ahead with a lot of football, and God bless. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.